I know. All right, everybody, we're back again. I kind of lied. We're not doing a review on my cousin Tim's pickup. As you can see, it is raining and it's disgusting, and we're not going to uncover it. But so we're going to do it on his Mustang. I will let you give more information about it because I don't know anything about Mustangs. I'm more of a pickup person. All right, Tim, it's all you. Introduce yourself.
Hey guys, I'm Cousin Tim, and this is my 1998 Mustang Cobra that you saw on Ray's Instagram post from earlier. So, as he mentioned, yeah, we're not messing with the truck today, so I figured we'd give you a little walk around of this instead. So, start. Where do you want to start?
I guess engine bay. Let's start
Engine
there.
bay?
Everybody wants to know about that first.
Okay. A little front shine on it. So it is a real SVT Cobra. I do have the certificate to prove it for those that like to doubt. It's got 62,000 original miles on it.
Where's the flashlight at?
It's coming.
There we go. Let's get some good light on this
All right.
situation here.
That's what matters.
So you're looking at a stock block. It's a stock 464 valve that was hand built by the mechanics at SVT, and they come with that the unique badge up on the valve cover there. And then on top we've got a 1.7 Kenny Bell supercharger, and that's right now making about 10 to 12 pounds of boost. What else? Upgraded injectors. It's got Ford Racing 42-pound injectors, so that was the same as what came in the second generation Lightning supercharged pickups. We've got MSD wires, NGK Iridium plugs in it right now. We've got a CNL filter on here. It's got a BBK air intake pipe, still a stock throttle body on there, and then it's got an upgraded Lightning 90mm mass airflow housing upgrade with the upgraded sensor. And then here I've got some meth injection running to help keep those intake temps down for the blower. What else? Recently put in a new alternator. All this is powder coated up front here. Trying to keep it clean.
What were you telling me about this stainless piece?
Oh, so yeah, this replaces basically the plastic trim piece that was here. It's like a continuation of this pattern. It's kind of crappy looking, but they discontinued these for the 94 to 98 model year cars. So, kind of cool. I've actually had people like try to buy it off me at shows before. So, that's kind of cool. What else? Missing anything under the hood there?
Well, what struts are in the front of this since?
Tokiko adjustables all the way around.
How low is the front of this?
The whole car is, the front's about 1.5 inches, and the rear's probably about 1.25 inches, but they call it, it's an IBOC lowering spring kit. And they say it's about 1.5 inches all the way around. Usually the rear's a little bit less though. So, what else? Smoked headlights. These came from American Muscle. For those that don't know, these cars actually did come with the pony up front on these cars. It was swapped to the Cobra badge, but I know a lot of people see them with the pony and they say, oh, it's not a real Cobra, but that's actually aftermarket. So, then underneath it, it's sitting on a 0304 Terminator Cobra reps. So they're 17x9 up front and 17x10.5 in the rear.
What size tires on the
Got
front?
the spring. They are 255s in the front and 315s in the rear. And then that's it's the
What do you think?
street high performance summer tire up front, and then the street radial back in the rear. So it's the high performance Nitto, and then it's their NT55R street radial out back. So that's kind of nice. It's still streetable, and you get a decent amount of mileage out of them for being a radial, but they do grip when you need it to. So
They do grip, people.
maybe not right away,
but they do grip.
For what it's worth in one of these cars. And I don't know if they want to see inside real quick.
Yeah, we got it.
There we go. So, just an autometer boost gauge on the dash there, and then on the column, I should say, with a shift light hooked up. And they had the white face gauges from the factory. Still got all the factory head unit and CD player in there.
How many miles was on this?
62,000 and change now. I bought it with 57. Interior's clean original, just floor mat, shift knob, nothing crazy. Trying to kind of preserve it.
Exhaust?
Exhaust. So believe it or not, it's actually running stock manifold still, but then Going down from there, it's running a Bassani catless X pipe to SLP Loudmouth 1 catback system. So
You said H pipe? X pipe?
X-pipe.
X pipe.
X pipe. I think it gives it a little more of that.
Rasp.
Yeah. When you get into it, it's pretty cool.
And whose tuning is this now in it?
It needs to be retuned. It was done by a shop called. Ooh.
Putting you on the spot here.
Yeah, I gotta look at because the shop doesn't exist anymore.
All right, so old school cool people. That's all we need to know.
Yeah. So it needs a retune. I'm looking. There's a guy down in South Jersey in Tabernacle called Modern Muscle Performance. So I'm looking at. I was referred to him by the guys over at Tune Time. If you guys have ever heard of them, they do a lot of Mopar, Chevy performance stuff, things like that. They do some Ford work, but when I told them what I had, they were like, I think they said their computers don't support the system this old. I think from 98 it changed to 99. They could only go back to the first year of the new edge body, which kind of sucked.
That's a common problem we have with old stuff here.
Yeah, unfortunately. It's like the market's fading out a little bit.
Yeah, it's getting hard to do. Gear ratio in the rear?
373s.
373s.
So, yeah, actually the rear's beefed up. It's Ford Racing 373s with an Eaton limited slip differential, Moser 31 spline axles, Ford Racing axle bearings and seals. Am I missing anything right there? And the C-clip eliminators.
Alright.
That's what was in there. And then it's got the it's got a nice aftermarket cover on the back there too. What else did I do? Oh, fuel.
Yeah, I was on
it's got a
fuel
Walbro
system.
pump in the tank too. It's a 255 liter an hour.
And what pound injectors?
42s.
42s.
Yeah. 42s. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything there. It's pretty much like the full bolt-on 4-valve Cobra without getting into the Oh, it does have a Ford Racing King Cobra clutch in it. So that's rated for 1,000 horsepower. So if I, go bigger and better, it's got the capability to handle it. The trans, on the other hand, might be a different story. So we'll see where that goes. But
It is a very nice driving clutch in this car, though.
it's a little heavy.
But
and I got the Steeda firewall adjustable piece for it there too, so you don't have to get under the car and do it. It's got the firewall adjustable setup on it. So that's pretty neat. I'm trying to think. Did I miss anything? Oh, I got the Steeda caster camber plates on top of the strut towers there. For anyone that was wondering about those, because there's a bunch of different manufacturers out there for those guys. Get the lights back. So that's those guys on top of the strut towers. What do you think, Ray? Am I missing anything else here? I think I covered it all.
line lock. Car does have a line lock.
So it's the Hurst roll control system. You can find that at most of the Mustang sites, whether it be late model restoration, American Muscle. They all supply it. So that's pretty cool.
What's the most common website you find yourself ordering parts for this from?
Definitely between American Muscle and late model restoration. Kind of depends on what I need. I know some people have said they've had issues with American Muscle. I personally like them because if you know what you're going for, being that we're here in New Jersey and they're right over in PA, I usually get stuff within 2 days for just the base free shipping. So that's pretty nice, but as far as customer service goes, the guys at LMR know their stuff a little bit better, so that's kind of good if you have a tech question there. But just expect coming from Texas, it's going to take a solid week to get to.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what drives my decision a little bit there. But then there's also a couple guys talk about lethal performance. There's CJ Pony parts. I got my shift knob from them. That's kind of cool. They do the custom shift knobs and everything. But I've heard their customer service is like, So I tend to stick with AM and late model Resta just because they've done me well for so long. But there are some pretty unique parts on Lethal Performance if you take a look. They do the intake. On these, they have an intake manifold runner control plate in there. And basically what that does is there's a second set of butterfly valves that opens up at 3,250 RPMs and basically lets the car take in double the air. So if you're not driving above that, you're actually going to get pretty good mileage in this car. If I'm just putzing around town, I can see upwards of like 20 miles to the gallon, which is really impressive. But you get something, they have custom plates. Guys will actually like take those plates out and they'll do like a JB weld fix on them, and then they can actually break and kill your motor.
Okay.
Lethal Performance actually sells a whole aftermarket plate that goes in place. So that's something kind of cool. Something I've thought about doing, haven't got there yet. This is the blower and the lower intake manifold from Kenny Bell that maybe those will be something worth looking into in the future. Get a little more air down in the low RPM range.
Then,
Pretty cool.
so you were talking about tuning and going E85 last week.
Yeah. E85 won't happen anytime soon.
All right, so no E85. We're scratching that one.
Race fuel is in the picture.
Oh boy.
Actually, maybe we'll do an SCT flash tuner. We'll mount that and we'll do a street 93, and then I think 107.
Yeah,
is
I
the
think
race
VPs.
next.
Yeah, can.
There's Solberg Airport right down the road, so if I can get public access to their race gas.
Also, drivers
sell
sells.
it there too?
Driver sells VP by 5 gallons.
I'm going 107, go 110. Go away.
Everybody, that's Cousin Junior.
Hi, guys.
Oh boy.
Go big or go home.
Little background about Cousin Junior. Cousin Junior got Cousin Tim's first.
First Mustang.
What year was that one?
That was also a 98. My first car was one of these, but it was black on tan, had a few more miles on it, and yeah, that was kind of funny. I was back and forth between a few things. I almost bought a first generation Ford Lightning. I even messed around with a Subaru WRX for a little bit. I almost got one of those. Needed something that was kind of commutable at that point. And then I ended up kind of resorting back to the Mustangs after I was actually on the fence with an F-150, kind of like Tori's too. I went and looked at a red extended cab short bed with 4-wheel drive. That was pretty neat.
Minus the 4-wheel drive. Taurus isn't 4-wheel drive.
Except for that. Even touched around a Bronco once, but then decided I wanted to go fast. If I was going to have one car for the time being.
Only in Mexico.
What's that?
Only in Mexico, not in Jersey. You can't go fast in Jersey.
That's Mexico only.
But
we'll have to go. We'll make some Mexico trips for that.
Yes, at some point.
When it's not rainy and
Yeah.
the temperatures are reasonable, so we're not going to slide all over the place.
We'll also have to give you another tour around Tim's red and white F-250.
Yes, no, that will be coming.
That'll be another.
That's especially if they want to see like a project too. That's kind of
That's a
that's
project.
still in the project stage, big time. The rad support's sitting right there on the ground, so that gives you an idea of what kind of state the truck is in at the moment.
So, what favorite cousin supplied you with this rad support?
Oh, that would be Cousin Ray.
Okay, just clarifying. But
yeah, that was the pickup right there. That was the move.
all right.
Mine was pretty crunchy.
I guess everybody wants to hear this thing start.
Yeah.
Tim,
We'll do that.
let's be honest now. Then we got to end this because we're getting a little long.
You got a time limit on your videos there, Cousin Ray?
Not exactly, but we're at like 12 minutes. Hate to bore people for too long.
I didn't know I talked that long.
You take longer for a lot of things.
Okay, you're gonna edit that one, bud.
All right, bud.
What the hell just happened?
For real?
For real, it's not starting.
As you just witnessed, Tim's Mustang did not want to start. This is not planned by any means. This is actually a real life scenario. Tim?
Actually, we backed it up and warmed it up so I could rev it and they could hear it since it's been sitting for a few days.
So what are we doing now here,
Killed
bud?
it. It had gotten up to running temperature, idled beautifully. Went to start it. Nothing. The tack bumps to about 100 and just sits there. And there's no hiccup or burp whatsoever from the motor right now. So we're going to try running the scan part 2 and see if it registers anything at all. This is just a very generic scanner, but even if we can get some sort of basic code reading and maybe look it up on the internet, just to point us in the right direction, because we have battery, we have fuel, we can smell the fuel without a doubt.
Yeah, we definitely have more than enough fuel going
Plenty
through
of
this
fuel.
thing.
So why it's not kicking? Still no codes.
Still no codes. Junior, what's your thoughts?
Oh boy, bud.
Alright, that's Junior's thoughts.
As you can see, he puts a lot of time and thought into things.
But alright.
Jeez. Alright, this kind of leads me back. We got fuel, we're going something ignition related.
I'm gonna
maybe.
say ignition because we got more than enough fuel. Alright guys, so figure this out a little bit here. Again, this was not planned at by all means. We actually want to start this thing and let you hear it run. But all right, well.
It does run.
What was that, Tim?
It does run.
It does run. But
You guys gave her stage fright.
we'll come right back to you if we figure this thing out real quick.
Give us a few seconds and we'll give you an update. We're back!
All right, Tim. So explain what we just did.
So she was incredibly flooded out.
Why
As I
explain?
said, it needs to be retuned. The car had been running a bit rich. How it got so flooded just from idling and me shutting it down is completely beyond me. That really takes me back a little bit. But basically, we let the car sit for, I don't know, 5 minutes, and we decided let's not opt for ether and see what we can do in the meantime. So before we decided to let it sit even longer, we said let's see if we can get it to burp. We went half throttle on the crank, got a little bit of a belch out of her, and then from there we gave it another second, went right back into it, foot to the floor, got a little belch, came back out of it while still cranking, and it finally took and ripped right up on that. So right now she's idling a little high, burning through some of that fuel.
Yeah.
It's coming back down a little, so let's just give it a few minutes to clear up, and then if all looks good and we got the green light there, then we'll give you a few reps before we shut her down and put her away.
It's loud. That's my fault.
All right. So on that end, we're gonna end this video, Junior.
Like and subscribe. Comment OBS couple for more.
Yeah, what Junior said. Tim.
Thanks for watching, guys.